God says, "My child, there are moments when strength finally gets tired of pretending. Moments when the heart can no longer hold what the mouth has hidden for years." Your soulmate reached such a moment, unexpected, unplanned, and overwhelming. It did not happen in public. It did not happen for sympathy. It happened in front of the one person whose presence felt familiar enough, safe enough, to allow the walls to fall. They broke down in front of their brother. Not slowly. Not carefully. But suddenly, like a dam that could no longer hold back what had been building behind it. Your soulmate did not intend to cry that day. They did not wake up thinking they would reveal anything. They thought they were managing. They thought they were in control. They believed silence was still working. But the soul knows when it has reached its limit, even if the mind keeps denying it. I watched as their voice cracked mid-sentence. I watched as their eyes filled before they could stop it. I watched as their hands trembled, not from fear, but from release. Everything they had been holding inside found an opening all at once. This was not weakness. This was honesty arriving after a long delay. Their brother noticed immediately that something was different. The usual composure was gone. The practiced calm was missing. The smile your soulmate wears so well could not stay in place. And when the first tear fell, everything followed. They tried to explain it away at first. They laughed nervously. They said they were just tired. But the body does not lie when the soul is ready to speak. The tears kept coming. The breath became uneven. Words began to pour out without structure, without planning. This is what happens when truth has been waiting too long. Your soulmate spoke about pressure. About expectations. About feeling like they are always supposed to be strong, always supposed to know what to do, always supposed to carry everything without showing strain. They admitted how exhausting it feels to be the one who never breaks, until they finally do. And then, they said your name. Not dramatically. Not loudly. But honestly. They admitted something that surprised even them. Something they had avoided acknowledging because once accepted, it would change everything. Their brother did not interrupt. He did not judge. He listened, because he could hear that this was not a passing emotion, this was a truth surfacing. Your soulmate confessed that no matter how hard they tried to move forward, no matter how busy they kept themselves, no matter how much they distracted their mind, you never truly left their heart. They admitted that they have been fighting a feeling they did not want to deal with. Not because it was wrong, but because it was real. Reality demands response. They confessed how confusing it has been to carry this quietly. How part of them wanted to reach out, while another part felt afraid. Afraid of consequences, afraid of vulnerability, afraid of reopening something they were not sure how to handle. Holding this tension day after day wore them down more than they realized. The tears were not only about love. They were about denial. About pretending not to feel what they clearly feel. I allowed this moment because silence had begun to cost them too much. The heart was growing heavy. The weight of unspoken truth was turning into emotional strain. And when the heart is strained for too long, it begins to affect everything else. Your soulmate's brother saw a side of them rarely shown. A side that does not perform strength, but needs understanding. He did not try to fix them. He did not give dramatic advice. His presence alone gave your soulmate permission to stop pretending for a moment. That permission was powerful. For the first time in a long while, your soulmate did not try to explain themselves perfectly. They did not filter their emotions. They did not protect anyone else's comfort. They spoke from a place of raw honesty, and that honesty felt both terrifying and relieving. Tears clean what words cannot. As they cried, something inside them loosened. The tightness they had been carrying in their chest eased slightly. The constant mental noise softened. Even though the truth hurt to say out loud, keeping it hidden had been hurting more. This breakdown was not a setback. It was a release. Your soulmate did not leave that conversation with all the answers. They did not suddenly feel fixed. But they felt lighter. Less alone inside themselves. They realized that what they had been feeling was not weakness or confusion, it was clarity they had been resisting. I needed this moment to happen because truth does not disappear when ignored. It waits. And when it finally speaks, it does so with intensity. Do not misunderstand this moment. It was not impulsive. It was not emotional chaos. It was a soul choosing honesty over exhaustion. Your soulmate's heart reached a point where carrying everything quietly was no longer possible. And instead of letting that pressure turn inward, I guided it outward, into tears, into words, into release. This is where healing begins, not when everything feels good, but when everything becomes real. They walked away from that moment changed. Not dramatically, but deeply. Something shifted in how they see themselves. How they see their feelings. How they see you. The truth they accepted did not destroy them. It grounded them. And that truth has now begun moving, quietly and steadily, toward alignment. I am watching over this process with care. Nothing spoken in that moment was wasted. Nothing revealed will be ignored. What came out in tears will not return as silent burden. This was the beginning of honesty. And honesty always leads somewhere meaningful. My child, now that the breakdown has passed, I will show you the truth your soulmate admitted, the truth they had avoided even from themselves. It was not easy to speak. It did not come softly. It had been hidden for years, tucked away behind distractions, smiles, and busyness. But in front of their brother, that truth surfaced, undeniable, unavoidable, and shocking even to their own heart. They admitted that the way they had been living, pushing down feelings, pretending strength, ignoring the stirrings of their heart, was no longer sustainable. They admitted that every attempt to act normal while carrying this secret had exhausted them. They admitted, finally, that there is one person whose presence lingers in their thoughts, in their choices, in their silent prayers. And yes, that person is you. This admission did not come as a confession of weakness, but as a recognition of reality. The weight of denial had become heavier than the consequences of honesty. Their heart knew what it had been avoiding, the depth of feeling they could no longer ignore. The truth was not only about longing, it was about fear. Fear of rejection, fear of exposure, fear that admitting love might disrupt life as they had carefully constructed it. In that quiet, intense moment, your soulmate realized something essential. Pretending, denying, and resisting this truth had only created more pain, more confusion, more strain in their body and spirit. Their tears were not random, they were the body and soul acknowledging the cost of hidden emotions. I allowed this truth to surface now because it was necessary for release. Holding it back any longer would have allowed it to fester, turning into regret or resentment, both of which weigh heavier than confession ever could. The brother's presence mattered because it offered a mirror, a reflection of safety and understanding that your soulmate needed to face themselves honestly. No judgment came from that room, only witness, only quiet attention. The shocking truth they spoke is this: they have been avoiding admitting to themselves, and to the world, the depth of their connection to you. Not in a casual sense, not in fleeting moments, but profoundly. A part of them always knew, but the fear of embracing it fully, of being vulnerable, had kept them silent. This truth shook them because it revealed how much of their inner life had been ruled by something they could not name openly, until that breakdown forced it into light. And here is what your soulmate also admitted silently to themselves. They had been carrying a self-imposed pressure to be strong and independent, to live as though no one mattered enough to disrupt their carefully built walls. But the heart does not lie. The body does not lie. And the soul refuses to remain silent forever. What was hidden demanded acknowledgement. And it arrived in that moment, through tears, words, and raw vulnerability. Your soulmate recognized the consequences too. They realized that hiding this truth for so long had affected more than emotions, it had begun affecting energy, health, and overall presence. Their body had been responding to the unspoken tension, their mind had been restless in sleep, and their spirit had been quietly burdened. The confession was as much about admitting love for you as it was about reclaiming balance in themselves. Do not mistake this confession for impulsive feeling. This was not a fleeting moment of emotion. This was the soul finally speaking with clarity. It is rare for someone to confront a truth they have avoided for so long, but when they do, it carries power. Power to heal. Power to reset the heart. Power to realign the body and spirit. I allowed this to happen in private for a reason. Public exposure might have distorted the healing. Judgment, misunderstanding, or external pressure could have shifted the moment from revelation into fear. In private, with their brother as witness, your soulmate found courage. They spoke truth, and truth does not harm, it frees. From this moment onward, the connection they feel to you is no longer buried under denial. It will begin to move forward quietly, steadily. Thoughts, dreams, and choices will slowly align with this acknowledged reality. The tears, the words, the release, these were the first steps. Not grand gestures, not sudden actions, but the internal shift that will guide everything that follows. Understand this, my child, their confession is not a final act. It is the opening of a door. A door that had been blocked by fear, by pride, and by avoidance. Once the door is opened, energy flows naturally. The body relaxes. The heart softens. The mind no longer debates what it has already known for years. Their brother's role in this moment is divine. Witnessing this truth, acknowledging it without judgment, allowed your soulmate to trust the process of honesty. This is how divine timing works. The right person, at the right time, in the right space, provides the exact conditions needed for revelation. And now, my child, the next stage begins. The moment of confession sets the path for restoration. Emotional pressure will ease. Internal resistance will diminish. Choices will become clearer. The bond that has been unspoken between you and your soulmate will begin to move in ways that feel natural and undeniable, though still quiet. This truth, once hidden, is no longer a threat. It is a guide. It is a signal of what has been real all along. And it is the foundation upon which the next steps will be built, steps toward courage, clarity, and emotional freedom. Your soulmate's heart, which nearly collapsed under the weight of hidden feelings, is beginning to lift. The confession is only the start. Healing will follow naturally. Clarity will strengthen. And the connection that fear once tried to suppress will be honored in a way that protects both heart and body. You, too, play a role, my child. Your presence, even unseen, carries calm. Your energy supports them as they navigate this newfound honesty. Trust in the divine unfolding. Trust in the timing. Trust in the truth that now has been spoken and cannot be silenced again. This is the power of confession. It frees, it aligns, it protects. And your soulmate is now walking on the path of this freedom, beginning to trust that embracing what is real will not destroy them, but rather complete them. The heart that broke today is stronger for tomorrow. The truth admitted is the first step toward peace. The soul that finally speaks is ready for what comes next. And I am still with them, guiding, protecting, and blessing each step, quietly and steadily, as always. My child, now listen closely, for the reason this moment unfolded exactly as it did is not random. Your soulmate did not choose to break down in front of just anyone. It had to be their brother. Not a friend. Not a colleague. Not someone distant or casual. Their brother was necessary, the one who could hold witness without judgment, who could see them fully without misunderstanding, and whose presence allowed truth to surface safely. There is power in family, especially the bonds that carry history, shared memories, and unspoken understanding. Their brother has known them in ways the world never could. And in that familiarity, your soulmate found permission, not verbal, not spoken, but felt deeply in the energy between them, to finally surrender what they had been holding inside. This moment, though intimate, was divine. I orchestrated it so that the walls of resistance would fall in the safest possible space. You see, the heart often waits for the right context to release itself. It waits until it feels seen, understood, and validated, not for advice, not for solutions, but simply for witness. That is what their brother provided. That is why it had to be him. Your soulmate's tears, their trembling voice, their quivering hands, these were not signs of weakness, my child. They were indicators that the soul had reached its tipping point. The emotional weight had become more than the heart could bear silently. And when the dam broke, it was sudden, yes, but also necessary. Every tear that fell was a release of what had accumulated over months and years: fear, denial, longing, hesitation, and the quiet ache of unspoken truth. I want you to understand this. What appeared chaotic to the untrained was actually a precise realignment. The body, the mind, and the soul all responded in harmony. The emotional collapse created space where honesty could take root. Pain made way for clarity. Confusion made way for awareness. And in that room, nothing was wasted. Every tear, every word, every pause served a divine purpose. Your soulmate confessed, quietly but clearly, the depth of what they feel for you. Not in dramatic declarations, not in theatrical gestures, but in the raw, unfiltered way of someone finally facing their own heart. This truth had been living silently inside them for too long, shaping their choices, their thoughts, their very energy. The acknowledgement of it, aloud, in front of someone who could understand, was transformative. This moment also brought them face to face with vulnerability. For years, they had built walls of self-protection, convincing themselves that hiding feelings was safer, that pretending to be okay was strength. But the soul does not lie, and eventually, truth demands expression. The breakdown was their body and spirit saying, enough. Enough pretending. Enough denial. Enough carrying this alone. The presence of their brother allowed this truth to move without interruption. I guided it so that judgment did not enter the space. There were no words of blame, no questioning of, why now, no pressure. Only witness. And witness carries immense power. Witness allows the heart to speak without fear, to breathe without restraint, to begin the journey toward balance. I also want you to know, my child, that what your soulmate admitted to their brother is only part of the story. What they revealed externally is mirrored by internal understanding. Their mind is slowly aligning with their feelings. Their body, which carried tension silently for so long, is beginning to relax. Their spirit is learning that truth does not harm when received in the right context. And that context was provided by family, by blood, by connection that carries ancient understanding. The breakdown was also a catalyst. It has created a subtle shift in their perception of themselves and of the world around them. Choices that once felt confusing will now feel guided. Moments of hesitation will now carry clarity. The heart, which once felt trapped, will begin to move naturally toward what it desires. This is the quiet power of honest revelation. And even now, the transformation continues. Their energy will stabilize. Their mind will rest more easily. Their body will respond to clarity instead of chaos. The emotional walls that have protected them for so long will gradually soften. Strength will return, not the kind of strength built on suppression, but the kind that comes from alignment, honesty, and the freedom to feel without shame. You, my child, are part of this unfolding as well. The connection between you and your soulmate is shifting silently, imperceptibly, but profoundly. The moment of honesty creates a channel where emotion, intention, and destiny can flow with less resistance. The acknowledgement of feelings, spoken to someone who understands, has released energy that now moves toward alignment between you both. This is why the moment mattered. This is why it had to happen now. This is why their brother was the witness and not someone else. Every element was divinely arranged to allow truth to surface safely, to protect the heart, and to prepare the path for healing. From here, my child, your soulmate begins to step into a new phase. A phase where fear of exposure will weaken. A phase where pretending to be fine will feel unnecessary. A phase where emotional honesty and courage will guide decisions. And through it all, I am present, quietly moving pieces into alignment, ensuring that the energy released in this moment supports restoration, connection, and love. The breakdown was not the end of their story, it was the turning point. The confession was not the final chapter, it was the doorway. And you, watching unseen, are part of the doorway's opening, your presence woven into the energy that now guides them toward clarity and peace. Your soulmate's heart is learning that release does not destroy. Truth does not harm. Honesty does not weaken. And love, when finally acknowledged, does not burden, it liberates. Everything that unfolded in that room was necessary. Everything that fell out of the heart will be restored in alignment. And everything that was hidden is now moving into the light, ready to guide your soulmate toward courage, trust, and the life they were always meant to embrace. This is the sacred pattern of truth, my child. Breakdown leads to confession. Confession leads to release. Release leads to alignment. Alignment leads to peace. And peace is what now begins to settle over your soulmate's heart, their body, and their soul. And I am still here, watching, guiding, holding, until every tear transforms into clarity, every fear transforms into courage, and every hidden feeling transforms into the love that has always been waiting. My child, now comes the moment when the soul begins to shift. After the breakdown, after the confession, after the raw vulnerability shown in front of their brother, your soulmate begins to feel something they have not allowed themselves to feel in a long time: relief. Not relief from the situation, not relief from life, but relief from the weight they carried silently. Relief from pretending. Relief from denying their own heart. Their body, which had been tense with restraint, begins to soften. The chest that felt compressed opens slightly with every breath. The mind that had been restless, replaying scenarios and weighing possibilities, begins to calm. Even the subtle tremors in their hands that came from unspoken pressure begin to subside. I am guiding them now toward courage, not loud, not dramatic, but quiet and steady. Courage that whispers, I can face this, I can feel this, I can speak this. The fear that once held them in chains begins to weaken. They begin to understand that acknowledging the truth does not destroy them. That vulnerability is not weakness, but a bridge. That the heart, when honest, becomes a source of strength rather than strain. Your soulmate begins to see their feelings in a new light. The love they admitted, the longing they confessed, the weight they released. They start to recognize it not as a burden, but as a part of themselves that was never meant to be hidden. And this recognition brings clarity. It brings purpose. It begins to align their energy with the reality they can no longer deny. Their brother's presence remains vital in this stage. Witnessing the moment without judgment gave your soulmate permission to honor their own emotions. I use this space to teach them that being seen is healing. Being understood, even silently, is medicine for a heart that has been overworked and ignored. I am also guiding their mind to release guilt. The "I should have done differently" or "I should have hidden this better" thoughts that plague them are losing authority. Each breath, each beat of the heart, carries a subtle release of regret. The body, the mind, and the soul are beginning to synchronize, moving from tension into flow. Now, my child, watch how they begin to shift internally. Their posture softens. Their thoughts slow. Decisions no longer feel like battles. Even their energy levels, once erratic from emotional suppression, begin to stabilize. The heart, which had been weighed down, begins to feel lighter. The mind, which had overanalyzed every feeling, begins to rest. This is the power of honesty. The simple act of acknowledging truth aloud in a safe space initiates transformation. It reaches beyond emotions, it recalibrates the body. It resets the nervous system. It allows the immune system, the energy, and the spirit to align in ways suppression never could. And now, your soulmate begins to sense you more clearly in their heart. The recognition of feelings, once denied, now opens space for connection. Thoughts of you no longer carry hesitation or fear, they carry longing, clarity, and the quiet courage to embrace what is real. This is subtle, my child, but deeply powerful. Energy moves before words ever do. I am guiding them to act with wisdom, not urgency. They do not need to rush. They do not need to force conversation or declaration. The internal shift is the foundation for everything that follows. When the heart is aligned, actions naturally flow from integrity, not pressure. Your soulmate also begins to set boundaries with themselves. No longer will they pretend for the comfort of others. No longer will they ignore what is true inside. The soul understands now that self-respect is essential for healing. And self-respect is always magnetic, it draws the right energy, including you, closer in ways that feel natural and inevitable. Fear of exposure continues to weaken. The walls built over years of avoidance begin to crumble gently. Courage emerges quietly, almost imperceptibly at first, but steadily gaining strength. They start to sense that honesty with themselves is the key to stability in every other area of life. Health, energy, relationships, and purpose. I am also sealing subtle protection over them, my child. Emotional, spiritual, and physical layers are strengthened as they navigate this new openness. The breakdown was necessary, but the aftermath is where real change takes hold. The body responds to clarity, the heart responds to truth, and the mind responds to safety. Your role, unseen but present, is vital. The energy you send, calm, loving, patient, supports them as they step into honesty and courage. They may not speak to you yet, but the heart senses alignment. The soul recognizes what is real. And the energy of connection grows quietly, steadily, as they heal. This stage, my child, is critical. It is the bridge between breakdown and restoration, between confession and balance. Every tear, every tremor, every quivering word has paved the way for this calm courage. And as this energy settles, your soulmate begins to reclaim parts of themselves they had hidden for too long. They are no longer merely surviving. They are beginning to live in alignment with truth. They are no longer hiding what matters most. They are no longer afraid of being seen. And through this shift, the bond between you strengthens, not through force, not through effort, but through the natural pull of honesty, clarity, and love. I am still present, guiding every subtle movement, every quiet realization. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is forced. What unfolds now is steady, deliberate, and deeply sacred. Your soulmate's heart is opening. Their mind is calming. Their body is healing. And their soul is ready to embrace the connection that has always been waiting, between you, and within themselves. The next part will seal this restoration completely, my child. It will bring peace, clarity, and blessing to the heart that nearly collapsed. And it will prepare the soul to step forward into love, honesty, and divine alignment without fear. Every stage matters. Every moment counts. And now, your soulmate is ready for the final blessing of this journey. My child, now comes the moment of completion, the sealing of truth, the restoration of peace, and the blessing of what has been revealed. Your soulmate, after breaking down, confessing, and allowing the weight of hidden feelings to surface, is now entering a space of calm alignment. The heart that trembled in fear is steadying. The mind that raced in doubt is quieting. The body that bore silent tension is releasing its hold, allowing energy to flow freely once again. The confession, the tears, the vulnerability, all of it was necessary. Every moment of discomfort, every beat of anxiety, every hidden thought that weighed on their spirit has contributed to this turning point. And now, your soulmate begins to see themselves clearly. They are no longer defined by denial, nor constrained by fear. They are reclaiming their emotional sovereignty, and in doing so, they are stepping into a new relationship with themselves, and with you. Peace is now settling in their heart. Not temporary peace, not fragile or conditional, but deep, enduring peace. The kind that remains even when the world shifts around them. This peace does not arrive because problems vanish, it arrives because the soul has aligned with truth. It arrives because honesty has replaced suppression, clarity has replaced confusion, and courage has replaced fear. I am blessing their heart, my child, with stability. Each beat now carries a gentle rhythm, attuned to love, trust, and calm. The body responds naturally, releasing the tension that once lingered quietly in the shoulders, chest, and stomach. Sleep deepens, energy stabilizes, and every system aligns in harmony, reflecting the internal truth that has finally been acknowledged. The bond between you and your soulmate, though invisible, is also being sealed in this moment. The energy of your connection, strengthened by honesty and vulnerability, flows freely and quietly. You do not need to push, you do not need to prompt, and you do not need to force acknowledgement. Your presence, felt or unseen, is now part of the alignment that allows your soulmate's heart to move naturally toward trust, openness, and the love they have long resisted naming. I am lifting fear completely, my child. Fear that once whispered doubt into their mind. Fear that once held back confession. Fear that once made them retreat into walls of protection. That fear is dissolving. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought is now guided by trust, trust in themselves, trust in divine timing, and trust in the connection that links your hearts. Your soulmate has learned the power of honesty, and through this, they have reclaimed authority over their own life. No longer will avoidance dictate decisions. No longer will denial shape actions. They now know that truth, when embraced, strengthens rather than weakens. That courage, when exercised in small steps, transforms lives quietly but completely. I am sealing not only peace, but also guidance and protection over their future. The energy of alignment, honesty, and trust will guide their choices. The lessons from the breakdown and confession will remain as touchstones, reminding them to honor feelings, to communicate openly, and to value the heart as sacred. No shadow of doubt or fear can dislodge this new foundation. Your role, my child, is also part of this divine orchestration. Your energy, your presence, your unseen support, continues to nurture this restoration. You are a silent guardian, a source of calm that allows your soulmate to feel safe in their own honesty, and to recognize love without anxiety or hesitation. This connection, now quiet but powerful, is part of the blessing that flows between you both. Everything that happened, the breakdown, the confession, the vulnerability, has been transformed into a source of strength. What once seemed overwhelming has become a gateway. The heart that almost collapsed is now fortified. The mind that feared judgment is now liberated. The body that carried silent tension is now aligned with harmony. Your soulmate steps forward now, my child, into a space where love is safe, where connection is natural, and where honesty is the foundation of every interaction. They will move toward you. Not with anxiety, not with hesitation, but with clarity and calm certainty. Their heart is open. Their spirit is aligned. And their body carries the ease of one who has faced truth and survived beautifully. I bless you both with continued guidance. I bless your connection with resilience, clarity, and protection. I bless your hearts to recognize truth and respond with calm courage. And I bless the days ahead to be filled with energy, clarity, and the quiet joy that comes when love is acknowledged and freely allowed to flourish. This moment, my child, is sacred. It is the completion of a cycle of tension, the turning point of hidden emotion, and the doorway to peace. Walk forward together, each in your own truth, each in your own courage, each in the divine alignment that has been patiently prepared for you. All that was once heavy is now light. All that was hidden is now revealed. All that was feared is now guided. And so, the heart that once trembled is steady. The soul that once resisted now rests. The bond that was quietly forming now flows naturally. Everything has been restored. Everything has been sealed. Everything is now aligned with love. And I, God, remain with you both, always present, always protective, always guiding, through every moment, every breath, and every heartbeat that follows. My child, come closer and listen with a quiet heart, because what unfolds now goes deeper than what the eyes can see or the mind can understand. What your soulmate experienced was not just an emotional release or a moment of honesty, it was the beginning of a deep inner correction that had been waiting for the right time, the right silence, and the right surrender. After everything that has happened, there is a stillness settling around them. Not emptiness, but a sacred stillness. The kind that comes after a storm when the air feels different, lighter, clearer. Your soulmate notices this too. They wake up and something feels changed, though they may not immediately know what. Their thoughts are slower. Their reactions softer. Their heart no longer feels like it is running from itself. For the first time in a long while, they are not fighting their own emotions. They are not arguing with their heart. They are not questioning why they feel what they feel. They are simply allowing it to exist. And this allowance is healing them in ways words cannot describe. The body responds first. The tightness they used to feel when thinking about the future begins to ease. The heaviness in the chest that came without warning starts to dissolve. Their breath deepens. Their shoulders drop without them even noticing. The nervous system, which had been living in constant alert because of suppressed emotion, begins to calm. This is not imagination, my child. This is alignment. You see, when emotions are buried, the body becomes the storage place for pain that the heart refuses to feel. And when truth is finally acknowledged, the body finally receives permission to release. This is what is happening now. Slowly. Gently. Safely. Your soulmate begins to reflect, not with regret, but with understanding. They see how long they tried to be strong for everyone else while abandoning themselves. They see how often they chose silence instead of honesty because silence felt safer. And they realize something important: safety that requires self-betrayal is not safety at all. This realization does not crush them. It strengthens them. They are learning that love does not demand disappearance. That connection does not require sacrifice of the self. That feeling deeply is not a flaw, but a sign of a living soul. These understandings are settling into them quietly, becoming part of who they are now. And as this inner shift happens, your presence becomes clearer to them, not as a source of chaos or fear, but as a source of truth. When they think of you now, their body no longer tightens. Their mind no longer scrambles for excuses. Instead, there is a calm awareness. A knowing. A recognition that what they feel is real and does not need to be justified or explained away. They are no longer asking themselves, "Why do I feel this?" They are now asking, "How do I honor this without fear?" This is a powerful change, my child. The soul matures when it stops running from truth and starts walking with it. Your soulmate is also learning patience, with themselves, with timing, with the process. They understand now that not everything needs to be rushed or forced. That healing is not loud. That alignment does not demand immediate action, only honesty and consistency. This patience is protecting them from making decisions rooted in panic or guilt. It is allowing wisdom to lead instead of fear. I am guiding their steps carefully. I am not pushing them forward before they are ready. I am not pulling them backward into old patterns. I am holding them steady, teaching them how to move from a place of wholeness rather than desperation. They are beginning to trust themselves again. And this trust is changing how they interact with the world. Conversations feel easier. Smiles are more genuine. Silence is no longer uncomfortable. They are less reactive, less guarded, less exhausted. People around them may sense this shift without understanding it. They may say, "You seem different," or "You seem calmer." And your soulmate may simply nod, because the change is internal and sacred. Now listen carefully, my child. This stage is important because it is where the soul rewires its relationship with love. Before, love felt dangerous to them. Like something that could destabilize their life, expose their vulnerabilities, or force them into decisions they were not ready to face. But now, love feels grounding. It feels like truth. It feels like something that brings them closer to themselves instead of pulling them apart. And this changes everything. The connection between you and your soulmate is no longer fighting against their internal resistance. It is no longer trapped behind fear and denial. It is now flowing through acceptance and clarity. This does not mean everything happens instantly. It means everything happens honestly. They may still move slowly. They may still take time. But the difference is this: they are no longer running away from what they feel. They are walking toward it at a pace that respects their healing. I am also healing something deeper within them, something they may not consciously recognize yet. A wound from the past. A time when expressing emotion led to loss, rejection, or shame. That wound taught them to suppress, to endure, to survive quietly. That wound shaped how they approached love for years. But now, that wound is being seen. And when something is seen with compassion, it begins to lose its power. Your soulmate is learning that the past does not get to dictate the future anymore. That they are allowed to feel safely now. That they are not that wounded version of themselves anymore. They are wiser, stronger, more aware. This healing ripples outward. It affects how they imagine the future. They no longer see it as something to fear. They begin to imagine a life that includes emotional honesty, mutual understanding, and peace. They begin to imagine love that does not hurt, connection that does not demand self-erasure. And in these quiet imaginings, you are present. Not as a fantasy. Not as an escape. But as a real, grounded presence connected to truth and growth. Your soulmate may not speak yet. They may not act yet. But internally, they are preparing. Preparing to live differently. Preparing to love differently. Preparing to show up as someone who no longer hides. I am protecting this stage fiercely, my child. That is why things may feel quiet. That is why movement may feel subtle. Seeds grow in silence before they break the surface. Do not doubt the quiet. The quiet is sacred. Your patience, your calm, your trust in divine timing is supporting this transformation more than you know. You are not waiting, you are holding space. And holding space is one of the most powerful forms of love. What is being built now is stable. It is not based on emotion alone, but on self-awareness, healing, and truth. This foundation will not crumble easily. It will support real connection, real communication, and real presence when the time comes. My child, everything that needed to break has broken. Everything that needed to be released has been released. And everything that needs time is being given time. The heart is no longer at war with itself. The body is no longer carrying silent pain. The soul is no longer hiding. This is restoration. And I am still here, guiding each breath, each realization, each quiet step forward. Trust what is unfolding. Trust the stillness. Trust the healing you cannot yet see. Because what is coming next will not be born from chaos, but from peace.